Hey everybody, Ace here. With the stock market hitting another absolute high, the gurus are coming out of the woodwork and the articles are being written left and right of stock market crash, beware of the stock market crash. Warning, 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 stock market crash will be coming. So I'm briefly going to go through some of the articles and then quickly give you my thoughts on a 2021 stock market crash. The question with most investors when the stock market hits a high or its absolute peak is, when is the next crash or downturn going to come? And to note, a stock market crash is considered when the stock market drops 20% or more. If it's less than 20%, then it is seen as generally a correction. We have consistently been in a bull market for the last couple years in the stock market with regards to the coronavirus crash, but that was a very steep crash that was very sudden, and we've recovered out of it very nicely. So excluding that crash, we've been in a bull market consistently for the last couple years, hitting all-time market highs left and right. One of the articles that I read stated that the S&P 500 has gone through 38 different stock market crashes or corrections since 1950. Meaning the S&P 500 has lost more than 10% of its value over the course of a couple days, leading to that crash or correction. So if history repeats itself, knowing that we've hit another all-time high and all of the changes that have currently been made with the new president, the vaccine coming out, debating on different stimulus packages, and the current pandemic that is raging, a lot of people are wondering if or when another crash will be coming. Because typically when the stock market does hit its all-time high, there is some sort of correction where it will pull back a little bit, consolidate in those gains, and then push forward to another all-time high. Another thing that has been talked about is the Shiller PE ratio, which is the Shiller price to earnings ratio. This is a ratio that is based on the average inflation adjusted earnings from the previous 10 years. So over the course of 150 years of history, the Shiller PE ratio for the S&P 500 average has been around 16.8 and the median around 15.8. As it currently stands, the Shiller S&P ratio for the S&P 500 is sitting around 34.5, more than double its historic average. And what a lot of investors like to point out is when that PE ratio gets above 30, the stock market tends to have a general correction or a crash. The article states some dates where the Shiller PE ratio was holding about 30 and then a crash came a couple days afterwards. The first date was in 1929 after the Black Tuesday crash. The Dow Jones lost 89% of its market value. The next date listed when the Shiller PE ratio was holding well above 30 was the 2000 dot-com bubble. This is where the S&P 500 was holding above 44 and then the bubble was popped and it came down dramatically. And the NASDAQ fell even harder due to the tech stock bubble that we were in. Third was during the third quarter of 2018, where the Shiller PE ratio was holding well above 30 for the majority of the third quarter. Then, once the fourth quarter hit, the S&P 500 dropped almost 20%. So going into 2021, that Shiller PE ratio is holding steady above 30, causing some people to throw up some red flags that market crash or correction is coming right down the road. But in my personal opinion, that is yet to be determined. Another article states that the day of reckoning for the stock market is going to be Wednesday, January 27th. The reason this is going to be the day of reckoning for the stock market is because three major corporations are going to be sharing their earnings report. Those corporations are Boeing, Apple, and Tesla. And depending on how those earning reports go, it could send the stock market raging up or crashing down. Because when you really think about it, those three companies have a good stronghold in the market and give a good idea of how the economic recovery has been going over the last year. And for those of you who don't know, Boeing makes airplanes or aircraft carriers. Apple has all of their Apple products and cloud services, and then obviously you have Tesla, which is the black sheep of the companies. No matter what article you read or what you look into, there's going to be polarizing views on either side of the spectrum. You'll have the bears always saying stock market's going to come down, keep your cash on reserves and just wait, and then you're going to have the eternal bulls that are going to say stock market's going to continue going up no matter what in the long run. Don't stop believing now. Now that I've briefly gone over some of what the articles have said, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on what's going to happen throughout 2021 in the stock market. Another big question you might be asking, and this is definitely one I've asked myself, is do I let my cash sit on the sidelines and wait for that market correction to crash, or do I just continue the strategy I've been doing to invest and not worry about it? My 2 cents on this is that we do not know if the stock market is going to go up or down tomorrow, let alone next week. And as the age-old saying goes,
time in the market beats time in the market.
therefore you're better to continue to invest today rather than wait to invest later. And as statistics have shown, if you miss some of the biggest trading days in the stock market, you're going to miss out on a lot of growth. Myself personally, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to continue to invest day in and day out and keep my strategy the same rather than sit on a whole bunch of cash reserves on the sidelines. But ultimately, you need to decide what is best for you and the risk and strategy that you're willing to take. I would like to note that even though a stock market crash could be right around the corner, that does not mean you need to panic sell everything you have. Which is why sticking to a strategy is very important. I personally believe in the long run the stock market will be worth more in the future than it is today. So if there is a massive crash, just look at it as all your favorite stocks are on sale. Keep buying in because in the long term, you'll make that money back and more. Now, I personally do not believe that there's going to be a correction or a crash in 2021. There are a variety of factors that lead to this, but one of the major reasons would be the $1.9 trillion stimulus package that Joe Biden wants to push out. The more money that is currently being flooded into the market, although it's going to devalue our dollar, will help increase the stocks over the long term. More money into the economy should mean more spending and overall higher GDP growth, causing the stock market to increase in the long term. And with a whole bunch of people getting more money from a stimulus package, some will be using it obviously for their utilities and using it for what it needs to be used for, but there'll be a handful of people that will be using that money to invest into the stock market. And as long as there is demand for people to buy and sell more stocks, that in theory should be driving the stock prices up more. But it really depends, and ultimately no one truly knows. So I guess we'll find out, right? But as I've said before, I'm optimistic for 2021. I do not think that there's going to be a stock market crash or correction throughout 2021 just because of the stimulus package that's going to come through. And if the economy continues to recover as it's doing and the vaccine continues to do what it's supposed to do, the economic recovery should be going faster, leading to more GDP growth and the stock market continuing to climb. So going forward, my investing strategy is still going to be the same. I'm still putting in for my IRAs and my 401ks, and I'm still going to be aggressive in my swing trading accounts like Robinhood and Webull. So there you have it, my opinion on a 2021 stock market crash and what I think is going to happen over the course of the next year. It was short, brief, to the point, and if you liked this video or learned anything, please just tap that thumbs up button for me, subscribe below for more content, and leave me a comment on what you think is going to happen in 2021 during the stock market. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.